Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hand of Fate 2. So we're continuously managing to make progress here. So in the last recording we finished the sun, we now have unlocked Judgment, and we see the world. And as far as the major arcana of the tarot, which is what these quests are named after and loosely based on, general concepts, tarot cards being just very general concepts, that would imply to me that this should be the last quest, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is some final boss battle. Of course, we have to get to that point, so we have to go through Judgment first. In the last challenge, in the last quest, we killed the Emperor, and now we are on the run. Flee to outer regions of the Empire and find the one who waits. And I assume the move here is that we killed the Emperor, and that sets something into motion that lets us now work towards fighting the dealer and getting to the point where reality is catching up with these flashbacks, which is what each challenge kind of is a retelling of events. So the entire game is basically just flashbacks until the very end. Imperial pursuit. The Empire has released the garrison. They will advance between encounters and after combat. Wanted, the price on your head will spell the most common foe to claim it. All basic enemies are brimstone. Oh man, that's going to be tough. And then vast empire. Your journey across the empire will be long. Prepare for combat against corrupted empire thieves, northerners, and undead. So seems like it almost doesn't matter what we shouldn't focus on anything specific in this case. We can't pick any of our companions. We are just in the case here with our companions. All four of the basic companions are coming along. The only thing I could think to get this shard that we haven't done is if there was some way I could get it in the middle of a very, very large area. Maybe it needs to reveal something that is north, south, east, and west all in one. So it would almost have to be in the exact middle in one very specific section. There's no telling what we should get here. So let's, I guess, go with equipment. And then you're still really, at that point, just trying to find things that might be helpful. Like scouting party might be useful. That's a pretty safe one. That's a pretty safe one. Trade blessings or curses. Get an item from there. Desert trek. It's pretty safe. That's a pretty good one. That might be good. That one's still a little too random. That's not a bad one. We've gotten to the point where we kind of know what the good ones are. So that's not a bad one. There's a way to do this one also with getting gold, and then there are just more. Certainly I could pick, but I think that's a good starting spot here. And then 22 equipment just sounds crazy. We have, I believe, a new starting element in this soul gem, so let's start with that. And then let's just assume we're going to need that, and that would probably help, and that would probably help, and that would probably help. And that's everything we can take. And then it's really going to come down to just equipment. So we'll take new cards. And then really should take things with tokens on them more than things with shards on them. That would be the wiser move. And try and take one of every item. Probably shouldn't be taking things that would be repeated, and rings overall if you really were doing nothing else. Like just filling up your collection with rings probably wouldn't be a terrible thought. But that does still put you in this weird position where your best move in these quests, while you're still trying to win, is still to try and pick items with shards on them or tokens on them, more importantly tokens. So taking each one of those items and just having way too many weapons still makes a lot of sense. Although it doesn't make quite that much sense. Anyways, that's a good enough first start for the first playthrough. We're almost certainly not going to win on the first try.
Of the things we have done if we are to ever find our worth. And so you come closer with every moment to the beginning of our story.
Warning bells ring out across the city. That was too easy, as Australia says, as you and your companions scramble down the spiraling staircase to the palace armory. Did nobody else hear the disembodied voice? Far from being unsettled, Ariane looks excited. The caravan Malclip shouts to you all, "We must go to the caravan. I know where it is, the marigold fields, beyond the swamps and mountains on the outskirts of the Empire. We gained 15 fame to start with." "They will come for us," Colburn mumbles. "We are at its heart, and we have killed the Emperor." You burst through the armory doors. The walls are laden with an array of equipment collected by the Empire across the century. Ariane tosses you some gear. The dealer equips you with an equipment card for each available type. So basically I could have hand-picked everything I wanted. This will have to do, Australia says. There's no time to lose if we are to reach the caravan. Our first obstacle is to get out the Imperial City and fast. Escape the Empire and flee the city. Hard choices to face on the road ahead, Colburn says solemnly, staring out at the small armory window. You may not all survive what we have started. We may not all survive. We knew the risk, Australia replies. I, for one, stand by my choices. Ensure all companions escape alive, is I assume a secondary quest. If we're to escape the city, we're going to have to rough the borough, the city's rotten back streets, and we best split up. She turns to you. Who would you have by your side? Okay. So. No clue. Let's just go with her, I guess. Ariadne joins you very well, Australia says. We shall meet at nightfall. We can regroup and coordinate from there. So the game is not going to let us just have 4 companions for the whole run, which is probably fine. That would be a little boring. Also, it's kind of nice that they split up, because now we're not going to have this desire to have 4 commentators on every main story line of dialogue. Now remember, Australia calls after you as you leave. We escaped through the city gates on the other side of the city. We need to find a way past the wall of the inner district. Australia looks to Ariadne and adds, the Empire patrols. They outnumber us greatly. We cannot hope to defeat them, avoid them at all costs. Alright. So we are seeing several little tower cards that are labeled as city wall. Well, let's go into the map mode first and just see this closer. City wall, city wall, city wall. City wall, city wall, city wall. And there's the city limits. We also see city streets, city streets, city streets. And we have to step on at least one city street to get out of here. So it seems to me like it's pretty obvious. You go up here, and then you go here, and then you go down here, and then it gives you the most options whether you want to go down or to the left to work your way down that way. We can apparently do something at the camp, and very quickly reflect 15 projectiles with a shield. Destroy the armor of 15 armored enemies to unlock this shard. Defeat 75 skeletons. I suspect we may not see skeletons. We won't starve. We have the King's Crown. In drawing a curse card, optionally discard it but lose your companion for 3 turns, plus 1 turn per use. Wow. So, in previous quests, if I had the King's Crown, that would have been really, really useful. And we hadn't seen that card before, so now we just know what it does. Can be used to revive a companion, so Soul Gem not even needed to be equipped. But both cards are equipped. Thieves' Bounty. Finishers against thieves drop gold. I don't think we have Thieves' Bounty ability. I think you have to have Light of Truth, and then you have to have a weapon called Thieves' Bounty, which the idea of having 2 different cards or pieces of equipment synergize with each other is actually quite a lot. Let's see what the camp is all about. You find your companions huddled together down in the back alley as planned. Empire patrols are searching for us. Australia knows there's no point in attempting to fight tomorrow. We must focus on getting out of the city. Alright, let's see what we have as far as the Holy Mace. This is one I shouldn't have started with. Food. Start with food, I guess, and it's probably not a mistake. We can change companions in there. Okay. So it seems to me like the move here is to just stay on the city streets, because no encounter will happen here. But yeah, I think the move is you're always going to be in an encounter, and so I think we're best just fighting them. Whoops. Timing was really off there. Should I even try for gold here? Yeah, I'm not gonna hit gold. Let's just go with silver. So if I'd done silver and silver, I probably would have... No, I probably would have only removed one card anyways. We're still getting this animation, and you can see how my equipment and outfit looks extremely different with all of this equipment equipped. Some shields are beautiful, some are functional. This one is inspired and powerful. So, the trick here is you gotta break the armor, then stab them, and then they grow back all their armor. The control layout for this game is still fairly awkward. A lot of right bumps, right triggers, left bumps, left triggers. Maybe never actually left bump, but it is annoying still. Okay. If I could get the timing really good on this, I think I could get it, but the red is almost always in the way. Maybe I should just go for the silver. And it's not really even changing the pattern. It's giving you very brief moments in which you could...
Poorly done. You must harness your will and find the quiet stillness inside you.
You need that brimstone character out of the picture. It doesn't... It's not very logical to... that you would even win.
You have done well.
And you know that last card was always going to be a brimstone card. Of course, I lost my companion there, and I really didn't have an opportunity to switch my companion around. So... These corrupted in particular are all about getting that finisher move. And they have very much undodgeable attacks. So I probably should just camp at this point. That's something I've realized in the past couple of hours of gameplay, even though I'm 50 hours into this game, is that camping and refilling your health is something you can do a little bit more often, at least in these later levels. So do I want to use a soul gem? Sure. Do I want to cook food? Sure. A lot of the other quests early on, though, you don't have the money to, or any other way of getting food. And these fights are not really leading towards any rewards.
Every step before you is filled with enemies. If you are to reach me, you must shake them all free.
You find your companions taking cover in an alley across the gate of the outer district. It's the infected, Australia explains. The commotion of the guards has incited them. They've gathered here blocking the gateway to the outer district. It's the only way out of the city. You peek around the corner. So we start with a blight and we end with a blight, and it's just a massive amount of blight. This doesn't look good, Malclip says. We'll stir up the hornet's nest if we try to get past them. I say we run like cowards. We should head forward, Australia replies. It's only a matter of time before we're found by the Empire, and this is the only way beyond the wall. I wonder if it truly is the only way beyond the wall. You feel a gentle tug on the corner of your sleeve. You turn to face a small wizened goblin, a pronounced frown wrinkling his face. Gerald knows the way, he mutters. Catacombs. Below the city there's a path, home to a king from an age past the Empire has forgotten. Meet Gerald there, and with that he turns and disappears down the alleyway, looking back sullenly at you. So, what a crotchety little thing, Ariandi chuckles. I don't trust it. We should fight and make a break for the city gates. I'd trust a goblin over a horde of infected, Malclip's notes, turning to you. I thought he seemed nice and incredibly trustworthy. So, do we retreat back to the burrows, or do we fight the guards / the blight? I think we retreat back to the burrows. We split up once again and fall back into the burrows. Alright. So now we're going to the catacombs. I'd assume we can't just walk here. Yeah, that does nothing, nor does that move move the guards forward. A wounded peasant runs stumbling down the streets chased by a horde of corrupted. And this time we can't ambush them. No such luck. So we're taking on the Crimson characters. Unfortunately, this is really, once again, a case where this could just get really bad and really annoying, where I would not be able to win or succeed. There are definitely games that you'll play for 50 hours and it will feel like nothing. And then there are games like this where you play for 50 hours and it feels like 100. It's all in the pacing, it's all in the level of enjoyment, certainly. How much you can get immersed into the game and stop looking at the clock. But yeah, this one feels really rough. But the horde defeated the townsfolk, rushed to tend to the peasants. They're grateful for your protection. And that's basically an encounter we've already done in other quests. The move here. would be for food more than gold.
Excellent. A wise decision.
And I'm not sure gold or fame is going to really help you in this scenario.
This is a place of death. You should be comfortable here.
You meet with a bad-tempered goblin. He glances furtively around. They are looking for you. If you don't want to die, you should hurry. Ask for more information. Ask to be shown to the catacombs. Let's ask to be shown to the catacombs and actually listen as far as hurrying. Gerald was sent to help you, the goblin mutters irritably. Gerald did not agree to do it for free, though. And the flesh ancient goblin snatches all your belongings. Or at your belongings. Goblin snatches an item. King's crown, whatever. Holy purification, which was supposed to be used on skeletons, and I've been using on corrupted. Let's see. Discard the 2 equipment cards. You follow the Gerald to the open sewer grate by the abandoned hospice. There, quite out of nowhere, he presses a flashing torch into your hand before pointing into darkness. The torchlight flickers on the whetstone as you crouch and crawl through the tunnel. Then, quite out of nowhere, the tunnel opens up and you can breathe again. Light flickering weakly from the cracks in the ceiling to reveal a cavern with the smell of old death, the catacombs. And now we have all those skeletons, where it would have been useful to use that item. Suddenly, there's a rattle and the sounds of metal in the darkness. Coming towards you, you've been ambushed. That still feels like that is way less of a challenge. Skeletons die easily. Hey, and this is just straight up a puzzle. So if any of them even survive, it will be small numbers. I guess the question should be, should I hurry in case any of them decide to... What is that green thing? Should probably hurry in case any of them decide to. Like, revive themselves. There's 10 food. So that is definitely worth the side journey. There's nothing else over that way. I could turn the camera a little bit, but it's not really even necessary. Yeah. And these little sections feel like a blast from the past because we see them so rarely, and yeah, they're so not a part of the main game. They're very much just added. At long last, you emerge from the catacombs with a breath of fresh air. Gerald the goblin is nowhere to be found. You gain 10 food. Alright, well. Everything points to this guy walking straight into me, so I think I have to do a fight. Which, if we're gonna do a fight, let's do that first. It might be better to have Malaclips as your companion. Seriously? They walk the other direction? In that escape, you would have had to have huge success to fully escape. Success only got rid of one card, and it didn't even get rid of the crimson card. Yeah, it definitely feels like Maleclipse's shielding ability would overall be more useful. Even as Crimson Corrupted though, these low level Corrupted aren't too bad. You never really got an idea why it started to sometimes showed red and sometimes showed blue in that loading. I don't think it really means anything. Okay. So we know what our choice is as far as which direction we're going. So can I catch these guys off guard, or am I supposed to be avoiding them at all cost? I mean, how do I even do that? Like, they're going the same place half the time. And this is one of the encounter cards we picked, so we do run into those on occasion. And getting the
back to the bones.
Numbers.
I hope you have learned to be their master.
To the highest is not anything really important. Let's see, this would give me a new item if we let him take the bodies, even though we know he's a bad guy.
Many of the priesthood prefer maces because they do not draw blood. Foolishness when you think about it, as they are hardly bloodless in practice.
Interesting, I got a curse. Still... we gotta try, I guess. Let's just attack.
Did you not consider that the Empire would stop at nothing to ensure you are found?
Didn't Australia we needed to avoid fighting the Empire? Andrew has the hammer on her back. The voice said we need to get to the caravan too. We cannot defeat them all. Flee the city. Retreat. Fight the Empire. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's that many people. And I really just cannot abide wandering back and forth just to get the pacing right. That's just so annoying. I'm not even sure what my item that I just equipped as far as a mace is all about. It's doing large amounts of damage. Definitely feels like this is a pretty powerful weapon. We should check to see what its goal is and what it does. So we did defeat them, and that gives us a piece of armor, and we can either take this to slow swing, which might be very helpful, or we can take this to defeat shadows, which we're less likely to do, so let's take this. That also gives us a lot of food. Our health is high. Now we've got Cave of Wonder, which we could just leave and do nothing with. Even a 14 is too low. Is it worth it to take 10 life? See if I could get a 6 and a 4 on this roll, I'd win. It's not a good deal to lose 20 life. Definitely feels like you get items and you get food by fighting the guards. And you get nothing from fighting the corrupted. Okay, Holy Mace. He's 23 damage. And seemed like it was doing double this. Empire projector is, well, it would either be use this or stick with Holy Mace. I think the move is to stick with Holy Mace. We picked up this curse. I'm not using the shield though. So let's do that actually, so we can go back to that.
What sets things in motion? Who and when? Do you know? All will be clear in
is
time.
This the entire event? Is just escaping the city? Are they really giving us a somewhat easy experience here? I don't understand that at all. I just don't see why they would have given me so many different random event cards to select from if in reality there was only going to be maybe 8 or 9 places where an event card could even be run into, unless this was an experiment, and each of these quests do feel like they experiment here and there. Perhaps this was an experiment where you had to pick a bunch of event cards because they didn't want you to be able to guarantee that you would run into any individual one. Instead, you'd only run into at most half of them. Bells continue to toil as the crowd of paupers and townsfolk fill the square leading out of the Imperial City. Guards block the way, checking all wagons and persons to enter and leave.
The table has changed, yet the stakes remain the same.
You still get the same
or death.
Generic comments if we take even a slight amount of time to read. The people cry out in protest, let us through, but they are only met with a wall of shields blocking the gates. Colburn beckons to you and Aaron on knee from the alley across the street. You press through the crowd, avoiding the guards, and join your companions. There are more soldiers here than we can ever hope to defeat, Australia whispers, and they will only gain in numbers the longer we linger. Somebody must be sacrificed, Colburn mumbles. Malcolm laughs, his colorful hat bells jangling. Don't have to be so cheery about it. I vote we don't send me because I won't be enough of a distraction. Aaron's blue eyes look worriedly between the two. Surely there's another way we can all escape. Well, the quest says keep all companions alive. No, Colburn is right. It is the only way, Australia says, turning to the group. Someone will have to draw the guards' attention for the others to escape. There's precious little time. Who will be? Alright, well, we literally have no choice here. So, kind of don't want to lose the soldier in case we lose them permanently. So let's go with the blacksmith, I guess. Is there a right decision here as far as who could distract best? And not really. It doesn't seem like the story is hinting at anything like that. Reunite waits for you all to get to the front of the crowd near the gate, then clambers aloft a merchant's wagon in the Senate Square. Hello, she bellows. Sorry to be interruptive, but I killed the Emperor. The square falls silent, but for the ringing of bells in the distance. Get her, the guards shout. With the guards distracted, your party sneaks through the gate and out the city. You pause for a moment to look back, but Australia grabs your arm. We must keep moving, so Ariadne failed to escape, which feels like that would have always had to been the case. Yeah, I just don't see another scenario there. Unless I could have just hit B and chosen no one.
Do you even know what success requires here?
You can only give Ariadne a moment more thought before you begin rushing out of the city with the sea of peasants. And with that, you continue over the pass with one less companion. Yeah, I would assume that there's more quests here. The mood is somber as you set up camp on the edge of the marshes. Malclips pours everybody a glass of wine that he has somehow procured from his cloaks to Ariadne. Will eat a marshland now. So I'd assume this is a somewhat similar situation, except for perhaps this time we are going over a bridge and crossing a river, and the towers might mean something, maybe not. Check the map here. Raging River with a bridge on it, and then the rest say Raging River. Then we have a tower here. And then we have some base down encounters. And we have marshland. So it doesn't seem like we're gonna have people chase us. Here's the little devil card. He wants a curse? By all means, take a curse. He'll give me some fame for that, and some food for that. He's a great card.
Poison is the weapon of the weak. That will not aid you, however.
So now we're fighting poisoners. And since they mentioned 4 different classes of enemies, it pretty much implies that there will be 4 different levels. It's been a while since I fought a poisoner.
You should not have crossed us.
Now my item is not going to be super helpful against small groups. I'll have to.
The enemies you have made
check
are
that.
endless, and each would stop you from fleeing your crime.
So we have a deadly crossing. You find your companions talking over a short way from the bridge across the raging river. Bounty hunters, Australia mutters. I'm sure Australia's put the Empire has put a handsome price on our heads. The guild could not resist such a reward. You look up ahead. So that's a large amount of people. Let's see. Maybe that's the way you keep all companions alive, is that you have to, instead of taking the catacombs route, you have to fight what would be almost an insane amount of enemies. And frankly, I'm surprised they can even think to put so many enemies on the screen at the same time. I'm surprised they even got 4 companions on the screen at the same time. Visually, it's a mess even with two protagonists and about 10 enemies. This does not look good, as Joey says. We have no other option. What should we do? From out of nowhere, a familiar cannon carriers goblin appears, frowning at all of you. Gerald has been sent to help. There's a boat upstream that can take you across the river. You have to battle the current, or you can find yourself right back here with the thugs. Gerald looks delighted at the prospect. He turns and disappears into the rushes. Alright, well, we'll try that. I'm not sure if it is worth in any way to go to the towers, but I imagine I'm going to end up playing this level 2 or 3 times, and at some point I probably off screen will check out what the towers do.
On my mark.
Let's find that poisoner if we can. Right.
To battle.
That took a little bit longer to fight through. Okay, Knight's Helm. We don't know what it does. Bonus defense. Each piece of equipment offers a defense gain of +2 defense. Excludes rusty equipment. Gain 1 fame if your weapon or artifact ability is used 3 times as single in a campaign. Right, well,
perhaps you can muster the honor that comes with a headdress.
Now would definitely be the time to build up your health and just cook some food. Now, even though there are RPG elements here, it's worth pointing out that there really is not. Let's see if there's anything here I'd want to sell for something different. I don't think so. There's really not a way to see what my full defense would be. Yeah. I can say this has 10 defense, but this theoretically would be adding defense, and this theoretically would be adding defense. Each piece of equipped equipment that offers defense gains +2 defense. So this is either normally a 3 and now it's a 5, or it's actually a 7. Really, you would only have 3 things at most that could offer a defense anyways.
We have rivers that
so
run
at most
through
you're going
us
to get
that divide us into
6
heart
extra defense.
and head, body, and soul.
Sure enough, you find the goblin on the side of the river. He points a small wooden raft moored to the bank here. Ask for more information. This time the goblin gives an evil smile. The current is strong. You may sink. Malcups makes a strangled croak. This thing's merely a raft. How can we hope to make it to the other side? Board the boat. The goblin stops you as you approach the raft. You'll soon have few cards to play, he grumbles. Gerald must get something shiny while he still can. In the flesh, the goblin snatches at your belongings. Let's see if we can equip something else. See if we can trade something else. Nope. So we really just, I think, are going to have to accept the offer and discard 2 equipment cards. Push off the water and the water begins to move you downstream. The current is strong. Australia calls over the roar of the river. Get to the far bank before we wash up at the bridge downriver. Together, you and your companion attempt to steer the raft to the other side. Now we have Australia here. We probably should go for the silver move. It's just no safety at all in going for gold. We could have tried for gold the first time and then retried, but let's just take the safe move. Australia may be the right companion to have the whole time. The current is strong, but you row hard. 2 spaces downstream. With some effort, you manage to steer the raft to the far bank before you swept too far down. Right. What do we want to trade here? Don't think this is useful, so we will trade that. And we'll fail miserably. And we won't equip this new item you have. Yeah, failing there didn't really do anything. Too bad. And the good move is we can just go here, here, and here. The question, though, is how are we going to avoid killing another companion?
Your friends have served you well, but they must serve you a final time.
You find your companions huddled around a small fire at the beginning of the foothills at the edge of the marshland. Without a word, Colburn throws a pot of water on the fire with a hiss. Then, with a tired nod, you all begin your climb. Together you scramble up the slippery banks to the drier lands of the foothills. As dusk falls, you look back over the marshlands. There you see torchlights of the Empire search parties hot on your trail. Suddenly Australia stops. She puts her arms out in front of you, blocking your way. You look up at the path ahead. Then you see it, the silhouette of an ogre against the mist, and not just any ogre, Draknar the Mighty. Ooh, well, maybe we should have had the other companion fight Draknar the Mighty. He points his club at you and says, Ariandi, thou crowds, thou cutpurse, thou little fleas, could not crush my head well enough. Thy companion's blood for thy mercy. There's no time, Colburn frowns. I will take on the ogre while you flee. Right, so can I hit B? No. So Colburn is suggesting he take him on. Let's go with that then. Colburn draws a sword and charges the hulking ogre without another word. Before you even think to do anything for Colburn, Malakups grabs you by the arm, and together you make a break through the craggy rocks away from the bounty hunters. Colburn failed to escape. I mean, this seems like this canonically, storyline-wise, has to make sense. And yes, I am noticing that when these cards load, there is a visual glitch happening where the card is just black for a second there, and the game pauses for a fraction of a second. But yeah, storyline-wise, it would make sense that all your companions died, because otherwise all your companions would have to be at the caravan right now with you. Which maybe there is a way to retell history, and that will be the case. The mood is somber as you make your way down the side of the range and into the snowy hinterlands of the Empire. I'd expect northerners in these parts, Malakup says. We'd best head west between those two mountains to pass beyond where the marigold fields and the caravan await. Flee to the hinterlands. This might also be a case that you need to do the companion quests completely, and I haven't done any of the companion quests completely for all 4 of the basic characters to keep them alive. Although it would be nice if the game had told me that, if that's the truth of it, if that really is the case. Yeah. Alright. Well, there's really not much else we can do. We're just going to go through this pass, it seems. And I assume these towers don't matter. And assume we can't go through the mountains. And I don't want to just end the episode here. Like, I could end the episode here, but it wouldn't be great, because my concern here, as this is going about, is that I'm gonna probably fail in this quest and then want to play off screen, because it doesn't really feel like there's anything too special going on here. It does just kind of feel like we are going to have to work with it a couple times. Yeah. I could easily see playing this 3, 4, 5 times, not really having anything special happen, then moving forward from that. Food would be about the only thing we're really looking for. If I knew it was just going to be food, I wouldn't have bothered to do that.
Tinged with flame, yet you must cross, or all is lost in vain.
Yeah. So yeah, if a companion quest eliminated this, or severely reduced this fight by completely doing all of Colborne's companion quest, then that would, I assume, be the way you could survive there. Following the trail through the twisted canyon, you find a northern encampment. There are many warriors here, Malcolm's whispers, and then a group further down through the pass, I'd wager. They'll attack on sight, Gerald. The surly goblin appeals behind you. Let me guess, Malcolms. There's another route past these birds. It will sound harmless enough, but a road less traveled is often less traveled for a good reason. North is a cave. The goblin continues. The passage leads through the mountains to the woodlands in the west. He then wanders down the gully and out of sight. Okay.
You are cunning, and your allies many.
You find the grumpy goblin huddled back in a large rock, sheltered from the wind of the snow-capped mountains. Ask about the cave. Caverns beneath the mountain were once the home to a great king, Gerald says, sunken and cold. That's basically the exact same story as far as the catacomb. A labyrinth of tunnel leads beyond the canyon to the other side of the mountain. The way does not come for free, he says, and a flash the goblin snatches at your belongings. Darn it. I didn't want to lose that. I'm not super upset about losing that. See if we can trade something else. Ask for help. Let's just go ahead and accept. You head into the freezing darkness, looking back to see the old goblin's silhouette watching you. The cramped tunnel leads on for what feels like age. As you go, you find old stone sconces and worn markings on the wall. Then with a cold gust of wind, you appear in a cavern. In the torch's weak light, you can make out stone balconies and stone parapets. Then you hear something. From the old cold darkness, there's the sound of a weapon unsheathing. You've been ambushed. So again, is this going to be skeletons going through one of these trap scenarios? If so, that's kind of easy to get through. It's just like the exact same scenario, same layout and everything. Just wait for them to mostly kill themselves. But it wasn't planning on that. We had bombs this time. That's still not really a problem though. The bigger problem would be them regenerating. You could fairly confidently just run through all of this. It's not really that dangerous. I wonder if there was a gold path over here before. 15 golds. Well, actually, buying items in the camp would probably be helpful at this point. Yeah, every now and then if I had bought another item, it would have been another item to counter what the goblin is grabbing. Yeah, I think that's good enough. But we really don't have enough gold anyways. Okay, let's, since we're going this way anyways, let's go and see what the tower will do, so we can at least see.
Cards like this are where the mechanics of the game blend with your own memories to offer opportunities you may not have else considered.
So we haven't seen the Black Cauldron before. On the little traveled Imperial Road, there sits a dilapidated tavern known as the Black Cauldron. The few patrons are quiet, sullen folk who barely look up to register your arrival. We have little to eat and drink and no rooms for rent. The bartender offers helpfully. Ask about blessings. I wouldn't know about any of that mumbo jumbo, he replies casually, but we do run a small trade in equipment out back. Why don't you have a look? Behind the tattered curtain, you spy a dusty storeroom full of worn, battered equipment. A man and woman as ancient and rundown as their stock serves as proprietors. Swap equipment for a blessing. Swap a blessing for some equipment. Let's see what you have, the man says, inspecting your equipment. Alright, so we're doing something fairly stupid here. Let's pick one of these, first of all, which I think we can say, take that one, and take that one, and take that one. Not a bad collection, the man says, taking equipment. The woman's eyes glazes over as she calls upon the power of the gods. And we have now Justice Serve. First hit in combat against thieves deals 50 bonus damage. Or, if you have 0 gold and 0 food at the beginning of a new map, draw 3 game cards. Then discard this card. We'll take that blessing. That'll give us the shard, and then we'll probably never play that again unless we're doing something where we're trying to get blessings, like the High Priestess. Bartender gives the barest of nods of acknowledgement as you leave the tavern. So I can't even hit the A button to go to the tower. So it just blocks your way. We now know. I'm just going to take the blunderbuss as a more direct move. And since we can swap companions, we will go ahead and do that. I don't think there's anything we can afford. Alright. We'll go upward. Now, what are we really looking for here? If we went red, 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 I guess we're probably looking for gold, 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 but since we start with blue, we'll just go with a bunch of fame. If we can get that to work. That's the worst possible one of each combinations. That was the one you never wanted to do.
This card is not lightly called Judgment. Here you must pay the price for your regicide, and also for your decisions.
It's revived Australia, and probably it's revived the other character, Malclips, too. Northern Pass, you join your companions at the foot of the pass as planned. At the beginning of your ascent, Northern warriors emerge from the craggy rocks and block your path. Colborner clan Eyebright Rogvar, their colossal leader, says from behind the armor of ice, "What business do you seek in these lands, coward? What business do you have leading the empire here?" Again, we've already lost Colborne, so yeah. We should do Australia. All logic points that we should have lost Australia in the first fight, since that would have connected her being a former Empire soldier with the Empire soldiers, and then we should have done Ariadne the second time with her storyline connecting with the Ogre, and then we should have done Colborne here. There's only one way forward to the Marigold Fields and the cavern. The other directions only spell death. You must send someone to parley with Clan Crowfoot. Now, the main quest of Colborne, as a companion quest, is fighting Clan Crowfoot. So, it still may be a case where you have to do the companion quests to their end, to their full end, to actually keep them alive in this scenario, and not just have Colborne alive at the moment. Australia approaches the northerner leading. Ragvar turns red with anger. "We do not parley with those not in the north." But he continues, "You have defeated the Emperor, as the High Priestess desired. Clan Crowfoot will grant you passage." He runs his frozen blade through Australia's chest, tip protruding out the other side. "Remember this, friend of Colborne the betrayer. He addresses you. You may pass, but never seek our protection again." So Australia is clearly written as being dead, where it was more subtle in the other encounters whether they were going to die. Seems like some sort of ancient blood payment has been made. Clan Crowfoot allows you to the rest of you passage past. Does that make sense? Claim profit allows the rest of you passage past. Nah, that sentence doesn't make sense. You can only arrange Australia as best you can. Already you hear the Empire soldiers approaching. Numb with cold and grief, you continue onward. Arrange is probably the wrong word. And so this should be the last level. You descend the mountain and pass to enter the forest dotted with blooms of red flowers. In the clearing, sure enough, you spot a lone caravan. Reach the caravan. A mournful horn signals the Empire is closer than ever. You set off at a run. And the caravan is straight up a platinum card. So, one would assume you're just going to run here and hit it, unless it's just going to magically move out of the way. But, unless we have to avoid fights and encounters. Let's see, ask for gold, I guess. Asking for gold so we can possibly buy an item. And so it definitely feels like the move here is that these guys are moving, like, in removing options, closing in on me. So if this caravan doesn't save the day, then I'm gonna be chased by everybody else. And it's labeled a new beginning. This is us playing the history, getting to what would have been the very beginning of the game.
You have made bitter enemies, and the best of them would stop you now. One step closer, and you will reach my threshold.
So, did we not make it? Or, I mean, that felt very scripted. We're surrounded. Imperial soldiers surround you as you approach the clearing. With the caravan, and knight steps forward. Fools, he calls, no one can hope to escape the Emperor's reach. You have survived this far, not by luck or skill. You've survived because we let you. You've been ambushed. He chuckles. If the sacrifice of an emperor is what it takes to draw out the last of the mages, then it is a price that must be paid. The knights step aside as the soldiers completely surround you. With the inevitability of the Empire closing in. Now, last of the mages, are they talking about the trickster or are they talking about the dealer? With the inevitability of the Empire closing in, you give a nod and your companions ready their weapons. One companion, I guess this is written as if there was more. Malcups looks you in the eye. You know we're not going to get through this unscathed, but I see no other way. Each available companion will attempt to remove a monster card now. We only have one, so obviously there's a way. We could have had 4 companions and removed 4 cards, which that would have been much more manageable. Malcup's book glows as he summons a spell. What are we trying to do here? Failure, or are we trying to get on the brimstone card? I think we're trying to land on the brimstone card, so let's do that and see what happens. Yeah, I guess that's right, so we'll go with that. I don't think we're supposed to nudge here. Malclips defeats his target. Or soldiers rush towards you. The dealer draws a life pain card for every monster card until 3 remain. Oh, is this how this works? So be it, the knight says, stepping forward. He lowers his helmet and drawing his weapon, he calls out the last of his men in charge. So maybe those other encounters would have also just been life pain cards until there was only 3 cards. Maybe each of our companions would have been able to take out those bigger groups. We have a traitorous knight. Why is he traitorous? At the front line of a great upheaval, there will always be men who flounder anywhere but in the midst of battle. Heavily armored, the knight can easily turn the tide of battle or use bash to break his armor. I don't get why it's labeled as traitorous knight, though. And this could have been what the Emperor looked like if we had really fought the Emperor.
By sea and song, fate and fame.
Okay. When would be the right time? Like, should we target this guy exclusively? Well, the knight's down to luck. Really? I'm down to like 2 health though, so I kind of need Malclips to take on a lot of the fighting here. And I don't think Malclips could have taken on a lot of the fighting now.
An end to your life and to your struggle.
And that got us nothing for an hour and 20 minutes of gameplay. Like, I don't know if it really even taught me much. Frankly. So we could like get rid of that. We probably should just get rid of everything and rethink this. So these companion quests specifically can't be done. But I do question if these companion quests, this one, and this one, should be done to get the best outcome possible. Removing curses, not going to really happen. What we would want to do is almost certainly...
You do like that one, don't you?
Reveal map. Gold. Equipment. Companion knockout. That's a pretty good one. Health is a pretty good one. And max life is probably a pretty good one, too. gaining life, trading life is what we probably are looking for. And then if we find things with swings abilities, precisions, it's probably not a bad one to go with either. Some of these are fairly harmless. And I'm surprised I even managed to get all the shards and tokens off of that one. That might work. We could find ways to teleport ourselves. That might be fairly helpful too. Shops things can be very useful too. It's crazy that the sound effects happen here. Fame check, fight northerners, gain gold. Any of these other items? Question. Or any of these other sections really that great? Yeah, I don't think the map ad's gonna work as a quest item. These cards get moved around in weird ways. Gain max life. We never did really figure out how to gain max life on that quest. So I kind of don't want to do it. Relocate. Wandering Trader. That's a good one. Let's get rid of Alchemist and do that one. If one Wandering Trader relocate worked. Combats. Anything that might give me combat might not be worth having though. We'll try that instead. And then what do we want to change? Real Nudge is not a terrible thought. Extra rerolls is not a terrible thought. Holy Bomb. Okay. What we want to find is which one of these is skeletons and which one's armor corrupted, and get rid of that. So we start with the correct thing. We also want to probably have only one helm. Which should be Knight's Helm. Infecting less than starting off with that armor might not be a terrible idea, but this defense is 5, this defense is 5. We're not really going to starve, Slow swing. Heavy armor reduces movement speed, but it has a defense of 20. This has a defense of 5. King's Crown. Get rid of that. So the move, I think, is to probably just flood your equipped cards and weapons and try to get as many tokens as possible. Platinum limit was already reached. Yeah, there is clearly more cards with tokens that are around weapons than anything else. There are a few things here that I'd like to get equipped and unlocked. Charged Bash in particular is just not something I do well enough. And clearly real gambits haven't happened enough throughout the 50 plus hours I've played. Let's see. We could start with that. We could go with that. Take a ring of defense because it gives you defense. That would be another thing that would give you +2 defense. I guess that makes pretty good sense. That being said, I'm not really changing too much here. Soul Gem to revive a companion is not really needed. I don't think gold or food is really needed either. Then do we have something that makes sense? Otherwise. Charged Bash items. And see, Fate's Path I don't think is even useful in this scenario, so it probably is just better to start with gold or extra food. I think gold probably makes the most sense. So, there are two scenarios here. One, and it is almost the exact same scenario I said just a couple episodes ago. One is I'm going to play off screen and see if we can get to the point where I'm actually going to succeed or have a high chance at least of succeeding at this current quest. Two is going to be the realization that I have to do an incredibly large amount of grinding to do and complete all the companion quests, at which point I probably would rage quit. Or 3, I just put several hours into playing off screen and am just willing to rage quit because I don't think I can actually finish this second to last quest. I do think that there's a decent chance I can finish it. It might just come down to getting lucky in that final battle, but there is a lot of things that obviously I need to experiment with, and if I can grind out and unlock a few tokens, that would be helpful too. The actual deck building strategy for this quest, though, seems weirdly unimpactful as far as what actually occurs. They're giving us a massive amount of encounter cards to pick from, but we really are only running into a few of those. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.